we are about to venture into the topic of IAS, and the session, the title for the next session, it says the future of IAS with the one and only Mr. Deepak Gupta, and he will be in conversation with Mr. Sanjeev Chopra ji. मैं चाहूंगा हम तालियों के साथ उनका स्वागत करें स्टेज पर. I would request them to please take their seats on the stage. And once again, before we move ahead, I would like to unveil some aspects from the lives of these two honorable officers. Starting with our guest author and speaker, Mr. Deepak Gupta ji. Mr. Deepak Gupta is a former chairman of the Union Public Service Commission. He is an IAS officer of 1974 batch and an alumnus of the St. Stephen's College. He is currently the Honorary Director General of National Solar Energy Federation of India. He is a former MNRE Secretary, Government of India, and UPSC Chairman. He has presided over the conceptualization and implementation of India's National Solar Mission. He has rendered distinguished services to the country in his long administrative career and has held many senior key positions in the Government of India. Sir, it is an honor and a matter of high privilege for us to have you here. And ladies and gentlemen, our discussant for the day, Mr. Sanjeev Chopra. He holds a PhD in management besides degree in law, history and literature. Many of us find it even hard to have a single degree, and he already has a number of them. He is the recipient of Robert S. McNamara Fellowship of the World Bank and the Hubert H. Humphrey Fellowship at the University of Cornell. I think that calls for an applause. He has written extensively on policy issues in governance and development interventions in rural development, agriculture, marketing reforms, cooperatives and farmer organizations. He also curates a literature and arts festival, Valley of Words, at Dehradun in November every year. And sir, I personally love this piece of information because if you happen to be looking for a new anchor for your show, then you can have someone wearing a maroon coat in this room. So, and on that joyful note, I would like to surrender and set the stage up for these two gentlemen to begin with. और मुझे उम्मीद है कि इन्हें हमारी तालियों का साथ जरूर मिलेगा. Thank you so much.
First of all, let me thank our anchor, let me thank DLF and especially Mr. Raghav Chandra for getting the two of us together. This is the book, the lovely book called The Steel Frame. It has the cover of an ambassador card, therefore it's also raised pieces like the tiger.
With the red light.
With the red light. So I suggest that...
it has gone away now.
So I suggest that you pick up a copy of the book and get it autographed by the author. Now, you see, Sardar Patel had said that you will not have a united India unless you have a good All India service which has the independence to speak out its own mind. So that was a statement which Sardar Patel made in just when the civil service was starting and when we had to make the transition from the ICS to the IAS. Now a lot of people say that today there are so many other pan-India organizations. You have political parties which are pan-India. You have corporate bodies which are pan-India, you have literature festivals which are pan-India, so civil society organizations are pan-India. So what is it that is so specific about the unity and integrity of the country, which is so special and so unique to the Indian Administrative Service?
I think maybe it's time to go back to Sardar Patel's times, especially what we are seeing today. Somewhat chaotic times where there is excessive politicization and there is divisive political discourse and there is a weakening of institutions, and transport ourselves to the chaotic times starting from the Quit India movement up to the independence and partition. And that is the time when Sardar Patel saw three things. One is the movement towards provincialization, and therefore the danger if provincialization goes ahead. Secondly, how the ICS at that time and the officers had performed in managing the chaos of those times. And thirdly, the danger of excessive politicization itself. And therefore, he has written extensively. He spoke in the Constituent Assembly. There was a lot of pressure against the surveys. They threw it away. Pandit Nehru also wanted to throw it away. But he said, and he has written and given many reasons why this is one of the strongest institutions for unity in the country. And IAS officers would go to the district, will go to the state and bring back the experiences of that to the center. And from the center, they will take back the experiences and the vigor in administration. And he also said that not only is such a service important for the country, but only if it has the independence to speak its mind. And often we forget the last part, and he said very clearly, even in the Constituent Assembly, that if the secretary, my secretary, does not give me his frank opinion, I will throw him away. Today, of course, situation might be reversed. If you do give a frank opinion, you might be thrown away. So in many ways, and I think he was really worried about provincialization and the inevitability of political control in states which otherwise officers will not be able to counter. And finally, he thought of this service. He said, and I think we need to ponder over it in today's times, that such a service is more important in a democracy than in an autocracy. And so we should think about it more. Really, what was the role which he sort of postulated and thought for the All India service? It is not diminished. I think it's only increasing.
Great. I think so. So that's the context in which we see the evolution of the IS. In fact, the subject today is about the future of the IS. It's not just because the fact is that we continued from the ICS, moved on to the IS. There have been a lot of changes in the ecosystem of governance. In this ecosystem of governance, you now have IT, you have e-governance, you have social media, you have the breakdown of hierarchies. And in these areas, and as you suggested in your book, the focus on training and various things, in your opinion, in your honest and candid opinion, do you think we are future ready? Because the question is not about no organization. In fact, a general comment that no organization can be absolutely sure of its future. The organization has to be future ready. So what steps, in your opinion, can be taken to make the IAS future ready and future savvy?
Well, I think this question is more appropriate for you as the central trainer to argue how we should make it ready. In fact, you know, Mr. N.C. Saxena, the previous director of the academy, has recently come out with a book which is rather critical of the service. The question he has been asked many times that 8 batches of IAS officers went under you, and how have you trained them that you criticize them? But I think we have to realize the world has changed. We are no longer just district administration. We are moving into a kind of policy regime and regulation, etc., etc. We have to professionalize ourselves and we have to develop ourselves professionally. And the starting point comes from the academy, and subsequently what kind of role the training, etc. would have. So there is no doubt about it that we have to become modern and professional.
No, I would like to share with you, so that I personally feel, and having interacted with a lot of young officers, that the readiness of the IAS, in fact, if there are organizations in this country which are anticipating the future and working for that, I think the IAS as a service is making efforts to become future ready and to understand the changes in the ecosystem of governance, which would include newer forms of governance, which would include the breakdown of hierarchies, which would incorporate issues of urbanization, and that's why these issues will become more strong. But we would open this up to the audience because we see a lot of young people here. One of the other thoughts, you've been the chairman of the UPSC, so a lot of issues have been raised about whether in the future, whether we need 22 services as we have today. In fact, they'll be reduced to about 16 or 17 with the merger of the railway services. How do you look at this trend about the IAS incorporating some more numbers and then breaking the silos, as they say?
Well, before I comment on this, just to go back to being ready, we must remember also that the service person has to be a good individual first. not only intellectually bright or very modern tech savvy, etc. He has to be a very sensitive human being, because most of his life he's dealing with the public, and therefore I need to instill in him these kind of values of public service, which are essential. However tech savvy he might be, if he does not have these. And right at the beginning, when the ICS started, the idea was that they should have liberal education. Why liberal education? In a short way, you can say it with the development of the mind and certain kind of values. Now, if you notice that a large number of people sitting for these services, not only the IAS, and those who are qualifying, are engineers. And so they might be very tech savvy and doctors. But their sort of mental attunement is not there to the kind of values probably. So this is something which training also has to take into account. Now about the services,
may I say interject here for a moment? You see, the reason for that is that in your times certainly, in my times also, the scope for the professional education in this country was much less than it was, and therefore now a lot of the best and the bright kids do move on to IITs, they do move on to law colleges, they move on to do their medicine, and then they consciously make a choice of coming back. So
no, that is given, that is taken, that is understood.
That's
yes,
so
but what mindset do they come with because of having done engineering rather than gone through the liberal arts is something which we have to make up during the training, etc. About these services, of course, number of services have to reduce, but I am talking about the examination system which recruits for the different services. I believe the civil service examination must be restricted for very few services, and many of the services examination should be shifted out. If you see the list, there are too many. And now, of course, there is a decision about the railway services which will probably, I have also recommended that they should have actually moved out. So we must reduce, and if you want these, if IAS is the primary service and it has a special role to play, then perhaps there is a case for having an examination only for the IAS, because that will reduce the number of people required to come for the interview, and your interview can then be of a much more rigorous exercise than it is today, and it might help. Maybe the foreign service also requires that kind of examination.
Okay, so that is a very interesting take that you have. In fact, going back to the reasons actually when in fact we were looking at the archival papers of the meeting in which the decision to make the to have the IAS was there. So the other services moved. In fact, this was the point which was raised by several chief ministers and premiers as they were called. They said that you should not continue the IPS exam because law and order is a state subject. Then the decision was taken that it will be very difficult to conduct another examination. Therefore, we might as well, have a common exam and get everybody recruited to that exam. But the other point that you made was about provincialization of the civil services. So one of the facts is that by the time we induct officers into the IAS from the state services, the age is not on their side. So there has been a suggestion which you also made, and which the Niti Aayog and the Academy is also suggesting, that there should be a limited departmental exam conducted by the UPSC for state civil service officers for induction into the IAS, and that after induction they should move out from their state or certainly go to the center. Your thoughts on that?
I entirely agree. I don't think, the promotion requirements for state civil officers require only a good in the ACR. So really I am not, everybody is getting promoted unless there is something against them. And then you become 45 years, 50 years old, and then you are promoted only on the basis of seniority. So no merit is recognized in that. So I entirely agree that there should be an examination. They should come in young so that they have more opportunities to go up in future, and they should go out of the state. Because we cannot make the IAS a provincial service even today.
So one of the issues that also comes up is about, and then we'll open it up for discussion, because I think the two of us have been talking on the subject for such a long time that it's like a dialogue amongst the converted, amongst people who believe in the future of the IAS and believe very strongly that it must develop. So maybe after this question, we'll open up for all of you to raise these issues. The point was about now we have the CDS, the Chief of the Defence Staff. We also find a lot of other institutions which are almost at par with the position of the Cabinet Secretary. So the role which the centrality of the Cabinet Secretary has been to some extent edged by the Niti Aayog on one hand, by the NSA on the other hand, by the CDS on the other hand. So in such a macro policy environment, where do you see as a very senior, as the next civil servant, how do you see the future?
Well, I personally think, and most of our service people must be thinking that the institution of the Cabinet Secretary must regain its respectability and its position of coordination and direction in the Government of India, as also the role of the Chief Secretary in states. But in states, two things are happening. One is that the institution of the Chief Secretary is being downgraded, and power has actually shifted to the office of the Chief Minister. And the other thing is that when Chief Secretaries are appointed, in many instances, that person is neither the senior most nor the most merited. And the latest, a few days ago, is in Telangana, where an officer of 89 batch has been appointed, superseding 14 senior officers of 5 years batches. And all of those officers have said, we will not serve under him. And so that officer will be complicit by the very nature of his appointment. And therefore we have to protect this also. The question has been asked. Now UPSC is involved in the appointment of DGs of police, though states are very reluctant to join that process. Maybe the time has come to find some solution for the appointment of the Chief Secretary also. But the Chief Secretary and Cabinet Secretary's position, I think, must be strengthened and recognized.
I think we'll open it up for discussion because I think there are a lot of questions and I do see a lot of interest.
Be very diplomatic in asking you questions because you are also very open to securing the future of the IAS. What do you think of the integrity level over a period of time? We see the Coal Secretary going to jail. We had a couple in Madhya Pradesh, they also went to the jail. People expect the IAS officers, and you also say that this is a primary service. So there are two questions. Do the IAS officer really look down upon the other services, whether it is IPS, whether it is forest service, whether foreign service, other service? One. And two, how do you insulate IAS officers? They are well-heeled officers. If a constable takes 100 rupees corruption and he is caught by the Lokayukta, but senior secretaries and senior IAS officers, collector, commissioner, principal secretary, additional chief secretary, they are also known to be involved in these things. How you two gentlemen would like to tell the society through us, through the audience, that well, there is a real good future for the IAS, but the IAS officer need to change their attitude and they need to really be public oriented.
No, I entirely agree with you. This is a complicated issue. It was presumed that if an IAS officer is posted, say, he goes to a district and we saw, it was presumed that he will be honest.
Correct?
Now that presumption is a little bit shaky.
Not little bit.
So I won't talk about the Coal Secretary because we have our views that he has been wrongly convicted, absolutely wrongly. The other people should have gone to jail, not him.
Not Mr. Goyal.
But the fact is that I have also separately recommended, and I believe in it strongly, that our process of promotion should become much more rigorous and should be done through an independent organization. In fact, I recommended UPSC. And below a minimum standard, people, if they are found, their services should be terminated. They should be pensioned off. Pensioned off. So if you have 15-20% people going away like this, it will create a big impact because today people who are either complicit or corrupt or conformist, they are not good enough. They get promoted to the highest positions, particularly in states. They can, I mean, with honorable exceptions. So we have to address this problem. Probably the IAS is a little less corrupt than others, even today. But we cannot afford.
That is a debate.
See,
That is debate.
No,
that of course everybody can debate about everything.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I would not, I think that amongst all the services, and I think this is a very oft statement. You see, every generation thinks that it is better than the ones that follow them. I personally feel that you see the IAS today, in fact I deal with a lot of younger officers, their levels of commitment, their levels of, and why are they joining the IAS today? You see, in our times, both he and I studied literature or history or whatever, all the degrees incidentally were picked up after I joined the IAS. So the fact is that today people are joining the IAS consciously. Many of them are coming in from the corporate sector. We are we're judging our perceptions on what a lot of media people say. Mr. Bajal is sitting there. He's written a book on how the public sometimes perceives us. But the fact of the matter is that if there's somebody, if there's some organized service which is ensuring that the
We are
rights.
also having two excellent chief secretaries sitting
Yes.
behind us. So they are
No,
they are
Mr.
very-
Bajal, unfortunately,
Had
was
to face
had to face this.
Had to face this.
And
He had
not
to
only
face
had to
this.
face it, but he has been able to come out so forcefully in his own defense. Now the point is that the public perception, we must make a very clear distinction between what the public also wants to believe. In fact, throughout this entire BLF, we've been discussing about the trivialization of the media, right? The media enjoys it. The media enjoys it when some collector does something or this happens or that happens. The fact of the matter is, and I'll say it with all humility and all authority, just all that, if this country is running well, and if the districts are doing well, if the Swachh Bharat is happening, if the right to food is working, if there are no starvation deaths in the country, if a lot of things are happening, that's because of the young officers in the field who are working and toiling much harder than anybody else can imagine.
Sir, I have two questions, small questions. One is related to the issue which you ran.
You see, what happens is that the yes men get more acknowledged. The ones who are not yes men are also there. They may be in the Department of Archaeology, they may be in training institutions, they may be holding departments of social welfare. So not
Basically, this
no,
is
but
to
no,
post
it is a question again of,
and the post-retirement.
allow me to explain certain things, sir. One is that we cannot isolate ourselves from the ecosystem, right? But let me tell you that the ecosystem takes its ups and downs. David Potter, when he wrote in 1985 India's political administrators, in 1983 he wrote the epitaph for the IAS. He says it won't survive for 3 decades. But not only has it survived, we've done well because we've been able to understand and anticipate. Agreed that the political executive will set the direction. But in about 80%, 90% of the things, the interface of the public is with the system as such. And to get the system working, the role of the IAS has to be future ready. That's what I'm trying to say.
But I may also add one point. There was a large number of case studies published by the World Bank about a decade or so ago about successes of public delivery systems and reforms in states. And they have concluded that in each of the cases there was an IAS officer at the helm of affairs, and that properly empowered by the politicians and supported, and number of other conditions I've mentioned, these IAS officers are capable of delivering wonderful things and innovative things. So we have to also create an ecosystem which encourages all these things and allows it to happen.
But there is a small question. It is often said that IAS is like an aloo.
I have not heard it, I am hearing it for the first time.
Any vegetable. And the role of technocrats in India is undermined because of
No, I think first of all, let's not undermine the role of potato. Potato is a very important part of the economy of Madhya Pradesh also. And just because onions and potatoes are a common man's consumption, we should not underestimate the role of potato. But having said that, I think it's important to understand that the IAS officer is a context specialist. We are not domain specialists. We are context specialists, right? So we are not competing with the Director General of the ICAR or the Director General of other. Getting that policy implemented. You can have the best potato variety in the world, my dear friend, but getting that potato into the field and getting the right price for that, getting the adequate cold storages for that, getting the cold chain for that, that is the domain of the IAS, and that's what we look at. There's a major role confusion when we think that we are competing with the specialists. No, the IAS and governance is by itself a very specialist job. And I think the time has come for us to realize that it is this specialist job and that's why the field experience is important, to understand the context. You cannot run policy without understanding the context. And the context comes from the first 10 years of service with the IAS officer, and he in fact is suggesting 15 years of work in the field before you can come out and understand what will work well.
एक और सवाल के
Yeah.
बाद मैं चाहूँगा जो यंग लैड्स यहाँ पे हैं वो भी सवाल पूछे, बट राइट नाउ सर
Sir, do you think that the higher levels of administration nowadays, they are hesitant in taking decisions and they look at the failure of the political level?
I think if they are allowed, they will be taking decisions.
They are allowed.
If they are allowed,
Big proviso.
yes, of course.
सर
I have a slight question and a comment here. for-
Slight questions, that's fine.
Both for Sanjeev and Deepak. You know, you're talking about the future of the IS. You're not talking about the IS today. You're not talking about the IS as it's been there. You're talking about the future. In the future, we have to remember two things. Number one, the IS is nothing but a part of the governance structure. In India, it is there. Every country in the world has some kind of a governance structure, and it's part of that. Now, governance itself is changing in the sense that, well, A, it's political, B, the very fact of democracy, the very fact of governance as we've known it at the international level is actually changing. In this context, I wonder whether the IS itself or whether the academy or whether the UPSC or whatever can actually perform a role which will ensure that the future of the IS also remains.
Well said.
I do not see any difficulty. You see, what are the broad changes that are happening? You see, one of the things that we often confuse is we often think that the IS is the district magistrate and that's it. Now the fact is that as urbanization will happen, the role of municipal commissioners will become important. What does the IS do? The IS does for this country, it selects people for working at the government of India, at the state, and even at the municipal and Zilla Panchayat levels. So when you have the best people of the country working for these organizations, what is the alternative? Do you want the Indore Municipal Commissioner to be recruited from the market? No, we must also understand the context in which you are operating. So given the Indian context, given the fact that the selection is happening through a very rigid, very fine process of the UPSC, and there are challenges, the point is that can we train these young people? And unlike in our times, now we're training people in the 10th year of service, in the 20th year of service, and the 30th year of service. So that is all the preparation to make people future ready. So you understand the context, and because we understand the context, we are perhaps best suited to handle urbanization. Who else will handle it?
Not the urban planners?
Well, so the urban planners will tell us about what is the civil. They will tell us many things. But the management of the urban system, the management of urban spaces, that is something that we've grown up with. That is precisely why the first 10 years is important. That is why the way in which the IS is structured is that the first 10 years have to be spent in the field. And it is now getting more and more clear that the first 10 years is going to mean some exposure at the level of the district, some exposure at the level of the Zilla Panchayat, and one exposure at the level of the urban area. So that is how you create a well-rounded person to handle all the complexities. Because an urban area is not just an urban area, it's a continuation of the hinterland. Now this is an aspect which only a person who's dealt both with the rural and the urban and the municipal will be able to handle.
अच्छा मेरा ये क्वेश्चन था कि सर जैसे IAS ऑफिसर होते हैं तो उनकी पोस्टिंग एक पर्टिकुलर डिपार्टमेंट में होती है, तो जब तक वो कुछ अच्छा करने की कोशिश कर पाते हैं उस डिपार्टमेंट में, जब तक कोई पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर आ जाता है उनकी पोस्टिंग दूसरे डिपार्टमेंट में हो जाती है। तो सर कभी कभी ये बहुत डिफिकल्ट नहीं होता एक ऑफिसर के लिए कि जब तक वो अपना
वही जो पहले उन्होंने एक सवाल किया था, IAS अफसर की तो सिर्फ ट्रांसफर होगी, जो म्युनिसिपल कमिश्नर मार्केट से आप लेके आएंगे उसकी तो नौकरी जाएगी, तो किसको ज्यादा खतरा? हमें क्या खतरा? खतरा यही है कि इस म्युनिसिपैलिटी से हटा के हम आर्कियोलॉजी में चले जाएंगे या यहाँ से हट के गेजेटियर लिख देंगे। लेकिन कोई जो एक स्ट्रेंथ जो है IAS की, क्या स्ट्रेंथ? The strength of the IAS, and that is what Sardar Patel had said, you are guaranteed. The Article 311 ensures us, enables us to do this. और नहीं कर पाते तो that is an individual aberration. जो आप हमारी जो रिप्लेसमेंट लाएंगे वो तो और भी ज़्यादा टेंशन में होगा, उसकी तो नौकरी जाएगी। पर लेटरल एंट्रेंट जो है अगर वो नहीं बात तो he is out. But the joint secretary is not out. He is not here in this department. He goes to another department.
पर
So
सर
there is a lot of
परफॉर्मेंस रिलेटेड इश्यूज भी प्राइवेट सेक्टर में यदि आप इफ यू आर नॉट एबल टू परफॉर्म that sword is hanging on your head, but that does not seem to be the
सुबह में जैसे बात हो रही थी किसी और कॉन्टेक्स्ट
मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ लेटेस्ट lateral entry का। I was secretary MNRE, so I just came to know one JS has been appointed through lateral entry in MNRE also. Essentially that ministry is of scientists. And scientists are all specialists. There's only one secretary and one joint secretary who do the coordinating role. So this person is a CEO of a wind company who has come for a few years. So, and then he will go back. So one is the issue of conflict of interest. Is there any conflict of interest likely today or potentially? The other is that person has been given the job of biomass power. So where is the specialization now? What has happened to the concept of specialization?
But
So I'm just giving you an example.
Sir, are you-
हम 4-5 departments में जाते रहते हैं. We all try to become a sort of part-time specialists.
So जैसे कि टॉपिक जो है फ्यूचर ऑफ आईएएस, आई थिंक इनका सवाल इज मोर ऑफ कि वो जो एडजस्टमेंट करते हैं वो कितना कठिन रहता है.
एक और मैं आपको बताऊं, देखिए जो चीजें आज तक हो रही थी वो हो रही थी. अब जो नई जो थॉट है उसके बारे में आपको बताऊं. Now the new thought is that after the first 10 years of service, people or officers will be asked to choose a particular area of their interest, and which also is aligned to the interest of the. For instance, you could be looking at agriculture or health or nutrition or infrastructure or industry or something. Now the idea is that after 10 years, officers will be encouraged to do online courses in that particular field, then go for foreign training in that particular field, and then get to work in those particular sectors. And increasingly this is happening. I for one have worked primarily in agriculture, rural development and training institutions. Right? That has been my profile. A lot of us we find now are getting into this domain.
So ये टाइटल था सर स्टील फ्रेम, ये बुक का सर, तो उसके बारे में सर कुछ बोलिए.
स्टील फ्रेम, ये स्टील फ्रेम का जो दिया था ये ब्रिटेन के प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने 1922 में दिया था, जब वो फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर के बाद यूरोपियन से स्टॉप सॉर्ट ऑफ सिटिंग फॉर द आईसीएस, तो उनको इनकरेज करने के लिए पार्लियामेंट में बोलते बोलते स्टील फ्रेम बोल दिया कि हमेशा रहेगा. तो एम्पायर का था, मगर जैसा कि हम लोग बातचीत कर रहे हैं डेमोक्रेसी के लिए भी, और मैंने कहा सरदार पटेल ने भी ये कहा था, तो डेमोक्रेसी के लिए भी स्टील फ्रेम चलेगा. स्टील फ्रेम क्या, गवर्नेंस के सुपर स्ट्रक्चर के अंदर है ना स्टील फ्रेम, तो इसको स्ट्रेंथन करने की जरूरत है. तभी मैं नो भी कह सकूंगा, तभी मैं ऑनेस्ट भी रहूंगा, तभी मैं इनोवेशन भी करूंगा. मुझे इसको स्ट्रेंथन करने की जरूरत है. इसके माने ये नहीं कि आप एरोगेंट बन जाए.
So my question is from the selection part of it. Does the institution of which the candidate is alumnus of plays a part in selection?
Are you talking of UPSC selection?
Yes, sir. Civil
In the
selection.
interview?
Yeah.
But the other day is all examination. Nobody knows which institution you are from. No, it does not play any role whatsoever. Whatsoever. I can assure you on that. No role. Otherwise, we would have been full of St. Stephen's College people.
In fact, let me tell you that the profile of people we are getting now in the civil services, they are from all over the country. In fact, all institutions, in fact, the number of people who come from agricultural colleges, the number of veterinarians that we have, the number of dentists that we have, the number of homeopaths that we have. This year you will be pleasantly surprised to know that a nursing student who's got 7 years of experience as a nurse, she's qualified the civil service examination. Therefore, the diversity, writing in Hindi medium, writing in Marathi, writing in Punjabi, writing in Tamil, writing in Malayalam. I mean, you have such a wide range of people.
The most diversified in the world.
And it is something to celebrate.
But the worry is why you ask this question. Because there is a perception, and you people should disabuse yourself of this perception कि institution, जगह, नाम, इस सब चीजों का कोई impact है. बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. And this is one of the biggest strengths of UPSC, and that is why it is respected.
अच्छा, मैं एक चीज और बताना चाहूँगा यहाँ पे कि देखिए तब से लेके जब तक हम सर्विस में थे तब 8 या 9% महिलाएं आती थी. अब करीब 33% महिलाएं आ रही. तब बिरला ही कोई व्यक्ति हिंदी मीडियम से या नॉन इंग्लिश मीडियम से आता था. अब कम से कम 20 से 22%, 25% लोग ऐसे हैं जो गैर अंग्रेजी मीडियम से academy तक आ रहे हैं. So that is a very interesting reflection of how things are changing and how they are changing for the better.
सर एक क्वेश्चन था मेरा कि सर बजाय ये आप ग्रेजुएशन के बाद यूपीएससी लेते हैं, अगर 12th के बाद लें तो दैट विल बी बेटर.
एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव रिफॉर्म्स कमीशन ने बोला था let not people's choices be restricted at the level of 10+2.
There's a reason is this. I
अब
will
उसका तो बहुत बड़ी डिबेट होगी,
There is a
बहुत
reason.
बड़ी डिबेट होगी, but it is not found to be a good idea,
Sir,
and it is not a good idea.
Let's have another question. So you had a question.
Sir, question from this side first.
Thanks for the opportunity. There is a wide range of crowd here. So my question is, sir, so I'm thanks for the opportunities opening up in the ministries for interns kind of things. So I was an engineering graduate, worked for 3 years in IT, and then got an opportunity to work as an intern in Department of Administrative Reforms, Government of India. So likewise, then I moved to NIRD and all. I like this governance thing. So it's more like I'm asking for suggestions. So I am planning for a career where like something like in Digital India initiatives. So for example, as IAS officer, will get an opportunity, like after some 10 years he might get into Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology kind of. But as a person who is looking for a career in Digital India initiatives, what are the ways that you suggest? That is one thing, sir, because this question...
So I think that is not for this particular, maybe offline after this we can discuss briefly, but this is not for... But you may hope to enter the governance structure through the lateral entry process sometime in the future.
I believe that the service is supposed to be basically a change agent. Now all these problems which are being discussed are because the people in the service are not open to changing. Because governance is change all the time. There will be a case which will come, case history will come, concepts have to be changed. So,
May I respond?
No, do you train the people in the academy to be a change agent?
Absolutely. In fact, the focus now is shifted from knowledge of history, geography, constitution, because that they already know. Now we are focusing on 3 very important things. One is negotiation, communication, leadership, and empathy. In fact, the new focus is, we spend a lot of time with the National Institute of Visually Handicapped. We spend a lot of time at Cheshire Homes. We invite asset attack victims. We invite people who have just come out of child marriages. We are inviting young innovators. So the whole focus is quite clear. You see, when we were in training, the focus was on knowledge, skills, and attitude. The focus has shifted now to attitude, skills, and knowledge. Because knowledge, Google Baba will give you. You don't need a training academy for knowledge, right? That knowledge, they are there. I mean, whoever will crack the UPSC can crack any exam. So knowledge is not required. Skills are again very easy to handle. The most important thing is attitude. The attitude of empathy, the attitude of questioning, the attitude of listening, and listening with the ear to the ground. And let me tell you that in recent times, if the ease of living, if your land records have become easy to access, if it's easier to pay municipal taxes today, if it's easier to get a driving license today, if automation is happening, these are all driven by young IAS officers. And the younger IAS officers, I find, are people that we can learn from. You see, gone are the days when we could have taught the younger generation. The time has now come where we get a lot of ideas. In fact, the Academy has a platform called Link, which is the Labasna Innovation Network, where people pose questions and those questions are then responded. We quite realize that in this new day and age, where the hierarchies are going to break, where communication is going to be challenged, so the main focus now is on, as I said, negotiation, communication, leadership, and empathy. That's what we are trying to do. That's what we are spending a lot of our time. The ability to work in teams, the ability to network, the ability to listen, the ability to be comfortable everywhere and anywhere. So these are the new sort of attitudes that we are trying to build.
And I think the IAS will be the real agent of change in this country.
I'm Sunil Deshpande. मैं एक प्रश्न पूछना चाहता हूँ गवर्नेंस से रिलेटेड गवर्नेंस का जो बैलेंस है टोटल कि IAS प्लस क्लास 1, क्लास 2, क्लास 3, क्लास 4 सभी एम्प्लॉइज मिल के जो आउटपुट हम लेना चाहते हैं वो हमको मिलता है। सर ने अभी बताया कि IAS की ट्रेनिंग में उनको अर्बन एरियाज में भेजते हैं, रूरल में भेजते हैं, बाकी जगह भेजते हैं, तो उनके ऊपर इतना ध्यान दिया जाता है, लेकिन टोटल जो हमको रिजल्ट्स परिणाम चाहिए उसमें 90% रोल क्लास 2, क्लास 3, क्लास 4 का भी होता है। इसका मैं एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल दूंगा कि RCBP नरोन्ना
अभी
प्रशासनिक
तो
अकेडमी।
IAS के रोल पे डिस्कशन है,
नहीं
मगर जो आपने मुद्दा उठाया वो सही है,
जी
मगर ये इनके दायरे में नहीं आता है, ना मेरे
नहीं
और ना आज के टॉपिक पे।
मैं दायरे के
बट
बाहर
जरूरी
नहीं-
है,
दायरे
जरूरी
के
है,
बाहर
सबको
नहीं जा रहा हूं।
ट्रेनिंग देना जरूरी है।
मैं केवल ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि उस बैलेंस को, क्योंकि IAS के ऊपर भी आपका फोकस
उसमें भी फोकस है, क्योंकि अभी DOPT ने बहुत सारे ऑनलाइन कोर्सेज स्टार्ट किए हैं एंड द एफर्ट इज टू ट्रेन एवरीबॉडी। इंसिडेंटली देयर इज नो फर्दर रिक्रूटमेंट इन ग्रुप डी इन द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, ओनली ग्रुप्स अप टू द लेवल ऑफ ग्रुप सी, देयर इज नो ग्रुप डी रिक्रूटमेंट। देखिए ATIs हैं बहुत सारी इंस्टीट्यूशन, बट लेट्स फोकस ऑन द IAS टुडे। The fact of the matter is that we have to ensure that in the environment that we create around us, there is a learning environment, there is a training environment. That's what we are trying to do.
And I think this issue should be raised in the media, etc. State training institutes should also be strengthened.
एक बड़ा
Anyway, तो इसको खत्म कर देते हैं।
हाँ भाई बताओ।
सर मैं पहले वहाँ पे जाना चाहूँगा, पहले से सर काफ़ी पहले से हाथ उठा रहे हैं पीछे।
मेरे सामने जो पहली रो उसमें गैलेक्सी ऑफ IAS ऑफिसर्स आर सिटिंग। इन लोगों को मैंने गवर्नेंस करते हुए देखा है परसों तक, लेकिन आज के जो ऑफिसर्स हैं वो गवर्नेंस की जगह मैनेजमेंट पे ज़्यादा ध्यान दे रहे हैं, द मैनेजर्स। दिस इज माय ऑब्जर्वेशन, नॉट ओनली माइन बट माय फ्रेंड्स आल्सो।
I think both are important. Both are important. He has mentioned about the future ready. The task of managing problems is also very, very difficult. And I must be, outcome oriented. My results should be measured.
Yeah.
So there has to be a management angle. At the same time, I'm providing public service. I'm dealing with people. I'm dealing with the culture. So I have to focus on governance. So they are not contradictory to each other. They have to go hand in hand. And we have to be both managers as well as good sort of governance agents.
एक छोटा सा प्रश्न और है, जो करेंट ऑफिसर्स एकेडमी से निकल के आ रहे हैं, दे आर लैकिंग इन सर्विस, दे आर एरोगेंट एंड दे सपोज दैट दे आर द मास्टर्स ऑफ द पीपल।
अब ये परसेप्शन है, आई डोंट।
अब ये बैठे हुए लोग देखिए अभी एग्जाम में बैठ रहे हैं, बस 2 साल बाद ये एरोगेंट हो जाएंगे, पता नहीं।
ये ऐसा नहीं है, हमारे पास अभी हमारे दो ऑफिसर्स हैं जिन्होंने अभी ट्रेनिंग की एकेडमी में। आप बताइए, अब आई डोंट थिंक ऐसा एटीट्यूड कोई एकेडमी में है। एकेडमी में जो पूरी एम्फेसिस जो है, the whole emphasis is on empathy, the whole emphasis is on trying to reach out to those who know. In fact, there are sessions called unheard voices. And I don't think in any institute in the country or anywhere in the world do we get to hear people. I mean, the entire disability walk, whether it is understanding the angst or the plight, we do a lot of emphasis on that side of the thing. The fact is that the expectations are much higher, and those expectations are growing leaps and bounds. आगे जो काम एक व्यक्ति रेडी होता था कि 10 दिन में हो जाएगा, today he is wanting the result in 2 hours. But he says, why is it not being done online? So what has happened is that the capacity of the government has increased, but the expectations have increased exponentially. Our abilities to perform have increased, but the expectations, challenges, and the number of schemes which the government have now taken up are so many. So that is also a big challenge for us.
मैं दर्शकों से रिक्वेस्ट करूँ कि अपने क्वेश्चंस प्लीज छोटे रखें, बिकॉज बहुत सारे लोगों के जहन में सवाल हैं। So please sir, go on.
I may be digressing a bit.
Those are not asked. Let's first give them.
I may be digressing a bit. I am a doctor. I want to understand in the interview process, you have seen multiple batches of students getting selected. What personality assessment you do in a candidate? Is it the vast question bank which he has in his head, or the confidence? Means what kind of candidate you are looking in the interview? Plus, overall, a brief light on how to prepare for this tough exam.
Not sitting. I
Okay.
want to understand the process because there are many.
Well, in the syllabus for the civil services exam, everything is written. What you are looking for in the person, in the personality test, it's all very clear. There are many kinds of things you are looking for, and knowledge is probably not the thing they are looking for. It has already been tested. So it is very clear for every candidate what is to be tested. What was the second question?
So can you just highlight those personalities because I have read a syllabus.
Well, the coaching centers are telling you how to prepare yourself for these interviews. But if one one has to be a generally aware citizen. One has to be able to speak well, argue confidently, argue soberly, and he should be well aware of what is happening around him. And I think be honest.
That is
These
the
are
real-
some of
that
the
is-
basic
that is the
things
real
you
future
require
of IAS.
for the interview, and this will make you do good or well, irrespective wherever you are. Wherever you are, these qualities will help you. It also helps in the interview. Sometimes luck also matters.
In fact, rather than going to coaching institutes, if you go to the YouTubes of some of those who made it, I mean, they have a huge
And there are so
following.
many now. They are full of advice from recently people who have passed out.
सर आपके जमाने में तो YouTube भी नहीं था और कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट भी ऐसे नहीं थे इतने जमाने जितने जब आप
अरे कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट शुरू हो गए थे जब वो ब्रिटेन में ICS का एग्जाम शुरू हुआ था, उसके बाद ही कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट शुरू हो गए थे इंग्लैंड में. And you know, the interesting thing is for 30 years this was a major item of discussion in England, and it had its impact on what should be the maximum age for recruitment. And therefore people wanted young graduates from the British universities to qualify, and also from the liberal side, art side. So they reduced the maximum age. Now if I have exponentially increased the maximum age now to a limit less than 34 and 32, so the coaching centers are having a good time because people are sitting 5 times, 6 times, 4 times, and every year virtually going to coaching has become a profession.
They are having a good cash as well.
So this is a matter of worry, and therefore this itself is a good reason to reduce the maximum age drastically. And I think the younger students should pressure. Younger students of all categories should pressurize the system to reduce the maximum age.
सर मेरा मतलब एग्जामिनेशन में जाते हैं हम अगर देखें कि ICS से लेकर के IAS तक कुछ भी चेंज नहीं हुआ, हम उसी पैटर्न को फॉलो किए जा रहे हैं.
नहीं बिल्कुल वो ठीक नहीं.
तो सर
ये
एक
फैक्चुअली ठीक नहीं.
सर मुझे पूरा कंप्लीट करना, क्योंकि जो ICS जो स्टैंड का था सबसे करप्ट था उस समय का. अभी अगर हम देखें कि कहीं ना कहीं IAS में भी कहीं ना कहीं करप्ट है, मतलब पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर के कारण या फिर कोई भी चीज़ हो, और हम मेहनत करके जाते हैं काफ़ी स्ट्रगल करके, जब हमें कुछ ये माइंड में लगे कि सोसाइटी में कुछ चेंजेस लेके आनी है, जब हम वो चीज़ें करने लगते हैं तो हमें हमारे ऊपर पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर काफ़ी आते हैं. देन हमारे पास ये 2 ही ऑप्शन होते हैं, या फिर हम उनके साथ मिल जाए या फिर हम क्या होता है रिजाइन कर दें.
नहीं ऐसी बात नहीं है. हम लोग सब लोग बहुत साल सर्विस से जा चुके हैं.
90% काम जो है उसके अंदर कोई इंटरफेरेंस नहीं. और मैं आपको एक और बात बताऊं, ये सब कहने की, मैंने तो CPM के साथ, BJP के साथ, कांग्रेस के साथ, तृणमूल कांग्रेस के साथ, इतने विस्तृत ये जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी है इन सबके साथ काम किया. कोई मेजर किस्म की समस्या नहीं आई है. हम सब जितने बैठे हैं हम सब ने बहुत रजीम्स के साथ काम किया. देखिए एक जो कुछ लोग बिल्कुल अलाइंड होते हैं, देखिए एक बेल कर्व होता है. कुछ लोग हमेशा से ICS के ज़माने से पॉलिटिकली इंक्लाइंड होते हैं, करप्ट होते हैं, होंगे भी. कोई ऐसी सोसाइटी, कोई ऐसी चीज़ नहीं बनी. हमारी देवी देवता सब, हर के अंदर एक वो 10% लोग होंगे जो हमेशा ऐसे रहेंगे. कुछ 10% होंगे जो हमेशा हरीश चंद्र की तरह रहेंगे. मोस्टली जो बेल कर्व होता है वो इकोसिस्टम पे डिपेंड करता है. अगर अच्छा इकोसिस्टम मिलेगा तो हम अच्छा परफॉर्म करेंगे. अच्छा इकोसिस्टम नहीं भी मिलेगा तो भी काम तो होता रहेगा. It depends on the, you see, what is it that you are looking for. Let me ask another question. एक IAS ऑफिसर जो बनता है, या IAS हो या IPS हो, वो क्यों बनता है? अगर उसने मन में इसीलिए IAS बन रहा है, IPS बन रहा है because he wants to do this or in fact हम तो ये कहते हैं कि अगर ये करना है तो और तरीके हैं पैसे कमाने के. एक नॉन लिबरल इकोनॉमी में other than the government service, there was no way to make money. Today, if you are smart, if you are entrepreneurial, you don't have to be in the IAS. You can make a lot of money outside. Even if, in fact, that's the argument which I keep telling the young officers, if we don't play this game because you cannot make more money than the nearest petrol pump owner. So that's not our game. That's not our game. It should not be our game. तो आप पैसे बनाए करेंगे.
ये जो फ्यूचर ऑफ IAS है, मतलब
बहुत सिक्योर है.
हाँ, जो चीजें हम लोग फॉलो करते हैं, क्या इसमें रिफॉर्मेशन होनी चाहिए या नहीं? ये कैसे रिफॉर्मेशन होगा?
कंटिन्यूअस प्रोसेस. देखिए, रिफॉर्म जो है ये कोई स्विच ऑन स्विच ऑफ टाइप सिचुएशन नहीं. हर प्रोसेस ऑफ रिफॉर्म जो है उसमें टाइम लगता है, समय लगता है. आप अपने देश को ही देखिए. आज से जब हम लोग बड़े हो रहे थे तो बिजली होती नहीं. We have all studied by the candlelight. I don't think आपकी जनरेशन को पता भी है कि मोमबत्ती, लालटेन, इस टाइप की चीज़ क्या होती है. लेकिन हम सब ने जो IAS की तैयारी की है या बाकी की है, कहाँ होती थी लाइट? मैं दिल्ली में शायद होती हूँ, लेकिन छोटे मुफस्सिल शहरों में लाइट नहीं होती. तो बहुत सारी चीज़ें ये ओवरनाइट थोड़ी चेंज हुआ. ओवरनाइट हमारी टॉल हाईवेज भी चेंज हुई. हर चीज़ एक प्रोसेस है. Let us see the world around us. Things are changing, things are improving, things have improved. And the credit for this improvement, the credit for having taken this country, you see today, India is no longer a poor country. We are a country with a lot of poor people. Today the poverty, when we joined service, when I joined, I remember when I went to Bengal for the first time in 1986, I was appalled at the level of poverty there. I come from Punjab. I was appalled and shocked to see कि ऐसे भी इस दरिद्रता में लोग रह सकते हैं. 50 or 40 years down the line, I mean, see the transformation. Today we have less than just about. There can be a debate on whether the poverty line is 25%. आज ये हालत है कि सड़क के आसपास के जो गांव हैं उनमें नरेगा नहीं चल रहा because the wage rate is 500 and मनरेगा में हम 200 रुपए
इसके लिए सबके लिए it's not that IAS has to be given credit, nor also the discredit for what we have failed to do. But in general, there are huge areas where we can and must and will continue to contribute.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.